Hello everybody, it's me, Mr. Bradley, and today we're learning about rocks. But before we begin, hit that subscribe button and get ready to do the starter questions on your screen right now. Rocks can be organised into three separate categories depending on how they were formed: igneous, metamorphic and sedimentary. The first kind of rock we're going to learn about is sedimentary rock. On top of mountains, it can get pretty windy and rainy. And did you know that this wind and rain can chip away tiny pieces of rocks and dirt away from the mountain? These tiny pieces of rocks and dirt are carried by water down streams to rivers, finally reaching oceans and lakes, where they sink down to the bottom. We call these tiny rocks and dirt that sink down to the bottom sediment. Over time, more rocks and dirt sink on top of them, then more sink on top of them, then more on top of them. After a long time,
1 million zillion jillion dillion cotillion times later,
things start to get heavy for the rocks and dirt at the very bottom. These layers are squeezed together harder and harder until eventually sedimentary rock is formed. Now, using these starbursts, I'm going to show you the rock cycle. So now I'm just going to cut up the starburst into tiny little rocks, which we'll then use to make our sedimentary rock. Okay, so our sedimentary rock has now been formed. This has been made of many smaller pieces of rocks and dirt, all squeezed together to form one hard rock.
Deposition is the dropping off of these sediments into a new place. Compaction is the squeezing or pressure added to the deposited pieces of rocks from added layers of sediments. Cementation is the bonding or sticking together of sediments and the formation of new rock. Sometimes these layers of rocks and dirt can be very clearly seen within the sedimentary rock formation. Although all rocks are pretty hard, sedimentary rock is probably the weakest out of the three types of rocks. Examples of sedimentary rock include sandstone, mudstone, limestone, shale, and even coal, which we learnt at a coal mine we visited here in Ireland. Hello, I'm here at Arigna Mining Experience to learn about a very special kind of sedimentary rock called coal. So we're just here in Arigna mine, deep under the ground. In here is where coal is mined. Above me is layers and layers and layers of rock. Very, very heavy. You can see how it compress and squash down that sedimentary rock to make coal. Let's check out some incredible sedimentary rock formations. And the next type of rock we're going to learn about is metamorphic rock. Sometimes these layers of rocks and dirt deep underground become close to molten hot magma. To add a little bit of heat to this rock, I'm going to use a hairdryer. The heat of the magma combined with the huge pressure of all of the layers of rocks above can cause the rocks at the bottom to be chemically changed into metamorphic rock. But this also takes a super long time. Here's some footage of me climbing on metamorphic rock on a mountaineering course in India. The next type of rock we're going to learn about is igneous rock. Igneous rock is formed when rocks become so hot that they melt and turn to liquid. We call them molten rocks. Molten rock that is underground is called magma, and molten rock that comes out of the ground is called lava. When the magma or lava cools down again, it hardens and forms igneous rock. Take a look at my starburst. When I heat them, they begin to melt and form molten rock. Then, when they cool down again, they harden to form igneous rock.
As magma or lava cools, they form crystal structures that are characteristic of igneous rock. There are two major classifications of igneous rocks. These are intrusive igneous rocks and extrusive igneous rocks. And these two classifications go along with the two definitions of magma and lava. Intrusive rocks cool slowly below ground from magma, while extrusive rocks cool quickly above ground from lava. The slow cooling of intrusive rocks leads to larger crystal sizes. These have larger crystals because the slower cooling time allows for the crystals to grow over a longer period of time. The slower the magma cools, the larger the crystals are in the resultant igneous rock. The opposite is also true. The faster lava cools, the smaller the crystals are in that igneous rock. Again, this is because a faster cooling time leads to less time for those crystals to grow before they solidify.
Then once again, over a super long time, this igneous rock is chipped away by the wind and rain. These tiny pieces of rocks and dirt are then once again carried away by the water from streams to rivers to lakes and oceans, where they sink down to the bottom, and the cycle begins all over again. We call this the rock cycle.
Hi guys, I'm here at the Giant's Causeway. The Giant's Causeway was formed around 60 million years ago when molten hot magma erupted from a nearby volcano and quickly cooled down as it reached the ocean, forming these amazing honeycomb pillars. These pillars are made from basalt, which is an igneous rock. Other igneous rocks include granite and pumice.
Recap time! There are three main types of rocks: sedimentary, metamorphic and igneous rock. Sedimentary rock is formed when layers of rocks and dirt are squeezed together under huge pressure for a long time. Metamorphic rocks are formed when rock layers become close to magma. The heat and pressure over a long time forms metamorphic rocks. Igneous rock is formed when molten hot rocks cool down and harden again. And so we've come to the end of our video about rocks.